So here we are again, part 4 of Textual Criticism of the New Testament. We're moving our way through. Today we're going to be looking finally at utilizing Kurt and Barbara Alon's book on the text of the New Testament as a resource to identify individual manuscripts. So the book is a tremendous resource for identifying the various New Testament manuscripts, be they papyri, uncials, or minuscules. And so what I'm going to do is sort of as a practical guide, take you through 3 different examples of these sections of the book and try to lay out the various manuscripts, identifying them so that when you do your textual criticism, if you see the symbol aleph, you'll know, this is this particular uncial, and you can use Alon's book to get a bunch of information on that particular uncial. So let's start with the papyri. In his descriptive list of the papyri, he has the papyri listed P1, P2, P3 in that order. And he tells you that Papyrus 1 contains Matthew 1, 1 to 9, 12, 14 to 20. It's a 3rd century manuscript, and it's housed in Philadelphia in the University Museum in Pennsylvania. And then there's some bibliographic information about it. The same thing here with Papyrus 2. So it contains John 12, 12 through 15, and Luke 7, 22 to 26, and verse 50, but in the Coptic. It's a 6th century manuscript, and it's housed in Florence. And so on down. So when you turn to the section on the papyri, you can literally go down and find, what does Papyrus 8 have? Papyrus 8 contains Acts chapter 4, verses 31 to 37, Acts chapter 5, verses 2 through 9, 6, 1 to 6, and 8 to 15, and it's a 4th century manuscript. And if I wanted to go find it, I'd find it in Berlin. And then there's some basic bibliographic information concerning that manuscript. So that's the papyri. That's how you use Alon's book to identify and gain some basic information on the various papyri. When we look at the uncials, very similar setup. It's going to give you the nomenclature, right? So aleph is uncial 01. They're the same thing. And this is Codex Sinaiticus. It's a 4th century manuscript. It contains the epistles, Acts of the Apostles, the Pauline letters, and the book of Revelation. So everything. So it's a 4th century manuscript. And then there's some basic information about it. And similarly, when you come to Alexandrinus, here it's A02, and it contains also the Gospels, the Apostles, the Pauline letters, and Revelation. It is a 5th century manuscript, and then, of course, this is the bottom of the page, so we continue on in the next page. The uncials are laid out in this way. I think the first 45 have their lettering in front of them, and then it just goes on to 046, 047, and so on. Finally, the minuscules, he doesn't lay out all of the minuscules. These are just what he considers to be the most important. So, minuscule 1, the Gospels, Acts, Pauline epistles, is a 12th century manuscript. And the same thing here, a 14th century manuscript. Here's what it contains, and so on. So, again, all the basic information that you need for these minuscules. There's also a section on lectionaries. This is an invaluable resource. So when you're going through the apparatus and you see Aleph or B or 049, and you say 049, what is that? Oh, right, that's an uncial. Well, what is it? Let me go see if I can pull it up. You go to Alon's book under the uncial section, and you can identify some very basic information about it and where you can go for further information. So it's a tremendous resource for doing New Testament textual criticism. In our next lesson, we're going to begin to look at the early translations of the New Testament. As with the Old Testament, the New Testament was translated into different languages, and we're going to begin to look at the ancient translations of the New Testament text. So stay with us.